In the previous exercise, we created a backup of the Windows Server 2003 system state data. In this exercise, we're going to go ahead and restore that information to see actually what it contained and to be able to examine the files that were backed up. So let's start by clicking on Start, Run, and I'll type the NT backup command. As it did before, this is going to launch the backup or restore wizard. In this case, we're going to again go to advanced mode so we can see some of the options that are available for performing a restore. I could choose to use the restore wizard, which will walk me through the various steps that are required. But first, let's go ahead and look at the Restore and Manage Media tab. You'll notice here that there are several options, and under the File section on the left-hand side, I'll actually see the backups that were created on this system and the contents of those backups. Now, this is a catalog that Windows Server 2003 will automatically maintain, and so the backup utility knows that I created a system state backup earlier. So if I click on the system state option, I can actually place a check mark next to that stating that that's what I want to restore. Generally, the backups that you want to restore from will be automatically seen in the Windows Backup utility. However, if they're not, you can click on the Tools menu and choose to catalog a backup file. This option will allow you to specify the location of a file. For example, you may have made a backup on a different Windows Server 2003 machine, and you want to now restore it on this one. So I'll go ahead and click Cancel since our backup does show up here, and I'll choose to restore all the system state information. Now, if there was a problem with the system state on this current machine and I wanted to actually overwrite the system state information, I would choose to restore the files to their original location. However, in this case, we just want to view the contents of the system state backup. So I'm going to go ahead and choose an alternate location for the restore. Notice that I have a dialog box here that actually lets me pick to which location I want the data to be restored. So I'll go ahead and choose a location on my file system. And you'll notice that the specified option is that if the file already exists, to not replace it. And that's fine since we're actually restoring to a new location on this computer. However, I have several other options for the restore process. So I can click on Tools and go to Options to view those. Notice that I can choose to do not replace the file on my computer, and this is the safest option. For example, if you're overwriting a user files directory and somebody wanted you to recover a file that had been accidentally deleted, this would be the safest way to do it. You can also choose to replace the file on the disk only if the file on the disk is older. So if you have newer data on your backup and you want to overwrite any older data, you can choose the second option. And finally, you can choose the third option, which is always replace the file on my computer. And this is good if you want to restore the data that's stored on your backup set and totally overwrite whatever is in the location to which you're restoring. In this case, we're going to go ahead with the recommended option to do not replace any files. And we'll click OK to continue. To start the restore operation, I simply have to click Start Restore. I'll get a warning message here that says not all system state data will be restored when I'm going to an alternate location. This is because information such as registry files or some of the boot files or some Active Directory information may not be able to be stored in an alternate location. But that's fine. For our purposes here, we just want to view the data as we're restoring it. So we'll go ahead and click the OK button. And I have some advanced options that I can set for the restore. But for the sake of this exercise, I'll just go ahead and click OK to begin the restore. Within a few seconds, the Windows Backup utility will make sure that the media that I specified, in this case it was the data file on the local machine, is valid. And it'll read the header to find out how many files and the size of those files that are stored in the backup set. And as we see here, the actual restore progress will copy the files from the backup media to the location that we specified. So this process is estimated to take about 5 minutes or so. So I'm going to go ahead and pause this exercise and we'll come back to it after the operation is finished. Okay, our restore process is now complete. So you'll see a summary of what's occurred. So you can see detailed information, for example, how long the restore operation took, how many files were processed, and the size of all of those files combined. To get some more details, you can click the Report button, And this will just open up a simple text file that provides the same summary data. Now, if any errors occurred during the restore operation, for example, if a file couldn't be read or if a file couldn't be written to the file system, that information would show up in this file. But you'll notice that in this case there are no errors and that everything was successful. So let's go ahead and close the backup log file. And then we'll click Close to finish the restore operation. And then I'm going to close the Windows Backup utility. As the final step in this exercise, let's take a look at some of the data that was restored as we did our system state restore operation. So I'll click on Start, Run, and I'll go to the location where I restored my data. And as you'd expect, as part of the system state, you see various folders here. For example, there's one for the Active Directory, which includes the ntds.dit file, and that actually stores the data that's included as part of the Active Directory database. Additionally, we can see boot files. For example, files that might show up in the All Users, Documents, and Settings folder, files that are required for booting in the Windows folder, and some additional files. There's a COM+ class registration database, which includes information about any COM+ DLLs or other shared code that has been registered on the computer. There's a folder for the registry settings, including familiar keys such as software and system, along with security information. And finally, contents of the system volume. Again, since this local machine is a domain controller, there's additional information about domains. For example, any group policy objects that I have created, or any logon scripts that need to be executed during the logon process. So as you can see, using the Windows Backup Utilities Restore mode, you can restore the system state data to an alternate location. So you can use this for troubleshooting purposes. For example, if you want to restore registry files or you want to see further information about what's stored in the system state.